Jive Archive with your host, Frank Monday, coming at you Monday through Friday. This is a morning grind edition. We've arrived at the yard. I'm hiding out under the willow tree. Welcome, Wizard Warrior, Wanderer, and Wayfarer alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you are receiving this transmission. We've been discussing the paranormal on the last two videos. So if you haven't seen those yet, just go jump on the channel, hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe, all that happy horse shit, and watch the last two transmissions. So I was discussing coming out of dreamland this morning and getting into my prayer and meditation. Meditation and prayer is the order in which I do it. You can do it in any order that you like, but feeling that great gratitude for being visited by the high priestess of the inner order last night, and the night before, standing among the secret chiefs and making a request that I be taught by Tahuti more directly, and that Tahuti take a more direct interest in my cultivation and development so that I can provide a clearer, better transmission to the community. And so I received a response. And like I said, the high priestess of the inner order visited me last night, spent a lot of time with me, and that was good. And I woke up and was able to take a lot of notes. But the main thing that I bring out of it and bring forward, or that I was bringing out of it and bringing forward, is that what I had established as the 100-day magical challenge was already the correct answer for not only the neophyte, but also for the master magi's, right? Master magus, everyone out there who's of a high level practice. So the basic procedure is threefold for waking up in the morning. Quietly lie within the fathomless cavern and sort through the imagery of the night. Don't move the head around. Don't sit up. Don't do anything. Don't fall back to sleep either, right? Show great respect and gratitude for the transmission of spirits that converge on you every day, early morning. That really gets the magic going, because you're practicing magic as soon as you become aware of being in your body again, right? So that's step one, dream recall. From that hypnagogic state, you can do great magic already. You can see into the future. You could set forth the catalysts of change, and you can interact with the prime material plane. You can go on some more astral travel, but the one thing you should not do is fall back to sleep. So that's before you move around. Dream recall occurs upon reintegrating with the prime material plane. After that, you do in fact sit up, and you should have everything uh, carefully encoded so that you can lay it down in your journal if you want later, or into a tape recorder like Crystal K suggested to me. And I haven't integrated it yet because I don't typically like to interact with technology first thing upon returning to the world. So then you get up and you sit in meditation. And then in that hypnagogic state with all of those dream images remaining, you can clear those away and you can go into internal alchemy and sit and do deep breathing for as long as you enjoy. But again, don't go back to sleep. Then step three. So see how you're gradually coming out of your cocoon from the lying position to the sitting position to the standing position. That's when step three, you get up, you go over to the window, and maybe if you enjoy throwing open the window and washing your face, like I have my kitchen sink faces a window, so I can throw open the window and wash my face and then do my prayers, right? My incantations and my affirmations, and then sit down with my journal and start to do magic a little bit. Just take notes on the salient points from Dreamland, and then do kung fu. After that, after all of that, then I could come back in and make my coffee. And that's the way it goes for me. Maybe you I recommend that in the beginning stages of your magical practice, just follow the first three suggestions: dream recall, meditation, and prayer. With that said, who do you pray to, right? Um, Many folks out there would engage in the doctrine and the dogma of moralizing over you and saying that you should pray only to the one great God. That's up to you. You may be from some pantheon that doesn't necessarily have the unification of the one great God representing all of the God forces and spiritual forces of the Shen and Jinn and other entities, angelic forces, and so on and so forth that inhabit the realms. So you might use a Greek pantheon, you might use a Roman pantheon if you're into astrotheology, right? It's the one most directly connected with modern naming of the planets, right? Mars, Mercury, Venus, Mars, the wandering stars, rather, Mars and Jupiter and so on, Saturn. If you enjoy my prayer that I often use, and I learned from, or I adapted rather, from the Arbitel of Magic, which is fervently Christian, esoteric Christian, or Rosicrucian in nature. Um, I'll put a copy of it up on buymeacoffee.com/ Frank Monday so you can review it there if it so interests you. I'm going to write an article about it and put it up there soon, along with creating your astral temple. So it's pretty straightforward, right? Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of the light and of the darkness, he who was, is, and will be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send one of your spiritual agents, the holy guardian angel of the temple, to serve as a guide and guardian on our pathway through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. We humble ourselves before the throne of the great Godhead in respect and adoration, so that we might know those things which you would have us know in humility, provide strength and fortitude for the things to come, and give us the foresight to deal with them effectively, make us strong so that we can fight the battles that life brings at us through the vicissitudes of transformation. I have funny opinions, but they can go. Oh, hello, Miss Mary Moon's out there in Happy Land. I've just gone through three transmissions with nobody in the ideas room, so I was signing off, but I've actually got another 10 minutes to hang around. If guys are going to show up in the ideas room, please hit the thumbs up if you guys are out there and give me a yo, because that gets the show started off right. But I did one 10-minute transmission, paid my toll to the troll at the bridge, and then I did another 12, I think 12 or 15-minute transmission. Nobody showed up, so I got bored and refired up the transmission, and then nobody was showing up again, so I was about to hit the road. But I do have a good 10 minutes. Your hands hurt because you've been bike riding. Yo, yo, yo. Huh. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Put some Bengay on the old hands. Yeah, happy new moon. It's in Libra right now, and it's transiting into Scorpio later today, right? Remember that I'm 6 a.m. here in Old Peking, 6:44 actually, it says on my watch. So sometime today it will transition into Scorpio. Is that right? Or is it tomorrow? Anyway, six one way and half a dozen the other, right? So we're also in, the sun is in Libra, right? What do we've got? A Jupiter sextile, semi-sextile with Mars on the 28th, which is tomorrow. Hey, Miss Sandra Sue's out there in Happy Land. Good to see you, Sandra Sue. It's 16 degrees Libra, and the moon moved to a degree every 2.5 hours ish. Oh, so we're only halfway through the Libra moon, which means that 2.5 times 14 will be 28. So it'll be 28 plus 30 plus hours before we transition into Scorpio. Gotcha. Right? It goes 30 degrees through each sign. Is that correct? Am I correct in that? Or is it 20 degrees, 30 degrees through each sign? Yeah, simple math I'm pretty good at. How are you doing, Miss Sandra Sue, out there in happy land? I hope you are well. Um, with this autumn weather, I feel the body dying, right? And October was the big month in 2020. Is that when it happened? When I had a real close encounter with death. I think it was about 5 or 6 months, 5 months after my brother had passed away, and I almost joined him in the world beyond, right? But I made a prayer to the great divine one, the vast and the mighty one. And I said, if you want me to return home, I'll come home willingly. But if not, let me stick around because I've got two young children that I would like to hang out with for another, 15 or 20 years. So why not give me another 15, 20? Hell, why not give me another 100 years here on Earth? And that way I can really get the great work done. And he saw fit to give me a pass and allowed me back into the prime material plane for another who knows how long, another 30 degrees perhaps. Yeah, 200 years, please, Tonka. And yeah, so I'm back. I'm back in action. It's been a couple of years since that happened. I was reading through some of Sharon Stone's story, and so I learned at the same time that Sharon Stone went through a very similar experience, and so did Dr. Dre, and they both survived it. Dr. Dre, in fact, he underwent the same surgery that I underwent in the same month. Can you believe that? She's a Pisces, March 10th. Yeah, that's why she seems like a kindred spirit, I guess. And I think Dr. Dre is too. I don't know. You'll have to look him up, right? The DRE from the COMPTOM, which is my hood, man. I grew up a mile from Dr. Dre's house. And I grew up in Snoop Dogg's neighborhood. Snoop Doggy Dogg. D-O double G. Those were my homies, my hoodies. They lived in the same hood as me. I wandered into Dr. Dre's neighborhood one time. I met Eazy-E at the Compton swap meet one time. Shook his hand. I was the only white boy in the entire swap meet. I snuck in there, and I think I ended up getting beat up later, but I had fun. And they were really shocked that one little white boy was in there. Like I think I was like 11 years old or something. And he called me up on stage. He's like, "Why don't you come up here, little boy?" And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "What you doing here?" And I'm like, "I just snuck over, have a look, see what's going on." And they were doing the NWA thing. It was a free show at the swap meet. I think I stole a bike to get over there. I stole somebody's 10 speed. It wasn't one of my family, it was just a bike sitting in someone's yard. And then I just rode it randomly. And then I found like this swap meet just or like a day market or something, and it was filled with Negroes. And I just rode right in and parked the bike and then just walked right up in there. And they're all looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? I did something similar too. I walked up on the Grape Street Crips, and they were all like hardened ex-cons and stuff. And it was Grape Street in Compton, and I just rolled up, and they're like, "We're Grape Street Crips," and yeah, they said, "You a brave little boy. You better get on home." And they had somebody take me home. I can't remember how it worked out that day. Yeah. Don't talk too much about my past on the shoe. I don't want them to know about what I had going on back in the day. I don't want folks to know my too much. Only what I'm willing to share. I don't I don't want you out there giving away the secrets because then the intelligence agency will triangulate me. Yeah, just look up NWA. Niggas with attitude. That's who they were. They were hardcore gangsters. They were all, I mean, the actual rappers themselves. I was 11, I think, 11 or 12 when I stole your car, Sandra. Took it out for a joyride, picked up all my homies, and went through cruising through the hood. I think we had beers and marijuana cigarettes or something. I was like 11 or 12. Yeah, I was pretty gangster as a kid, man. I wasn't gonna take no for an answer, and I was gonna sneak out every night and do my thing, shake my money maker. But I got involved with girls too, really young, and with gangster antics, graffiti. What other kind of shits did we get into? We got into everything: stealing motorcycles, stealing cars. Um, yeah, not just my mom's car, everybody's car in town. Um, I thought that was the ticket because there were guys that had chop shops and would give you pretty penny for a vehicle, and they'd teach you how to do it too, with a slide pull and a slim jim. I ended up getting hurt real bad though. I think that beating that the Fountain Valley Police Department gave me when they caught me with all those kids, and they had like 3 or 4 stolen vehicles already, and they were driving in a caravan, and they were trying to pressure me into stealing one, and I didn't want to do it. And then like a SWAT team showed up and grabbed us all. And one of the police officers in the Fountain Valley Police Department, he said he was really pissed at me and he was looking for the ringleader who had gotten away, right? The ringleader got away, and he just had, a bunch of kids that weren't going to get much, charges pressed against them, 10, 12, 11-year old, 15-year old, some of us. I think we had about a dozen kids with him, but like 3 stolen vehicles there. And he wanted me to turn in the leader, the ringleader. I'm like, I don't know where he went. He bailed. He jumped over the fence and ran past the dogs, and I got scared and hid in a tree. And he grabbed me out of that fucking tree, and he had a 6 cell mag light, and he said, I'm gonna hit you in the head with, he said, how old are you, kid? And I said, I'm 15. And I was lying because I thought that if I said I was 15, he might show some leniency on me. And he said, you don't fucking look 15. But he said, I'm going to hit you in the head with this 15 times and I want you to count. And I was like, okay. And so he grabbed me by the hair and started hitting me with this 6 cell fucking mag light right in the fucking head. And he beat me nearly to death with that thing. And I had to count to 15. Yeah, I tried to get my mom and dad to press charges against the city, but they wouldn't do it. And then he said he was going to drown me in this neighbor's pool. He had me in the backyard, and he threw me in a trash can, and he threw me in bushes, and he kept beating me with that fucking mag light in the head and gave me brain damage. And then he dunked my head in the water, and he said, I'll fucking drown you. And I remember the exact conversation. I think I've got it in my memoirs already, but I could give you the blow for blow. And then they threw me in juvie, and I had they wouldn't let my family see me for 3 days because they wanted all the blood to go out of my eyes. Like I had internal hemorrhaging and brain swelling and blood coming out of my ears and shit. And so they cleaned me up. And it seems like mom was on vacation or something. Yeah, they tried to beat me to death, man. And I always wanted to press charges against them and sue the city for brain damage, but it's never worked out. I've never had a lawyer contact me and be like, "Hey, I'd like to take that case." And that, interestingly enough, that was several years before they beat Rodney King. And when I saw Rodney King get beat on TV, I was like, that ain't shit, bro. I've had cops beat me far worse than that. I'm like, they didn't do shit to him. But then I learned through Rudolph Steiner, he says that what happens to you when you're 12 will reoccur to you when you're 50. So, like, if you get beat or injured or something, like when you're 10, 11, 12, you won't see the damage. It won't remanifest like you're visiting Wendy. Yeah, you won't know the actual repercussions of that until you hit 50 years old. And I thought, that's why maybe I had brain bleeding again a couple of years ago because I'm getting close to 50 now. Okay, so that's astrological patterns. Interesting. Well, I always thought it would be a little different because 12 times 5 is 60. So I thought it would be closer to 60. But maybe with celestial calculations, 10 times 5 or 4 times 12 would be 48, right? 48 years later. But I don't know. Master Nee gave me some secrets. Yeah, it's no big deal. No big deal. I shouldn't have been out fucking around with those kids, but he shouldn't have done that. Nothing justifies taking a child and trying to beat him to death. Like he really wanted to fucking hurt me. And he said that I would never forget the Fountain Valley Police Department. He said, because he asked me where I'm from. And I told him, I'm like, I'm from Long Beach. And he said, you shouldn't fucking be over here in this neighborhood. We do things different in Fountain Valley. Okay, 12 years old is Saturn Square, and so 50. Huh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting. I don't know why I got into telling you guys that story. I guess to just get it on the public record. So the Fountain Valley Police Department, and they didn't just hurt me; they also hurt a kid that was with me, and he can testify to this. He was there. He didn't see me get beat because they took me in someone's backyard. But here's an interesting aspect of the story that I've told in the past. There was a guy up on his balcony that came out, and I remember looking up, and he had a VHS camera and he was filming the whole fucking thing because I remember seeing the little red light dot on top of the camera, and the cops got mad, and he's like, "What are you doing to that little boy? You're gonna kill him!" And he said he was trying to steal your fucking car and break into your house. These kids are criminals. Blah blah blah. And then the guy yelled, "Okay, good, beat the fucking shit out of him then." And it seems like the police met with the homeowner later on, and maybe they got the tape from him, or he just swore that he would never, show the tape. But there's a I mean, there's possibly a VHS tape out there somewhere with the whole fucking thing recorded. I would love to see it. I mean, I'm over it. It happened, what, 36 years ago, right? So, yeah, I think that was funny. I mean, I didn't think it was funny at the time. Obviously, I didn't give a shit. I was gangster. I'm like, as long as I survive it, then doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna piss and moan about it. Consider myself a victim. Fuck that. I'm gonna move on. You just got to be more careful, especially around cops, right? That's interesting. Yeah, I was trying to memorize their badge numbers and shit, but I couldn't do it. See, if my mom had been more proactive, she would have got the police report and then the arresting officers' names and stuff, and made public record of all that, and then took my story and got possibly got me a lawyer, and then we could have sued the city, and there was a potentially multi-million dollar lawsuit there for child abuse. Because it doesn't matter what a kid's up to, you can't arrest them. I mean, he put me in cuffs before he started beating me. So you can't do that. Like that guy would have potentially lost his job. There would have been at least an investigation into it. But my parents were like, you got what you deserved, kind of attitude. You shouldn't be out there fucking around. And so that was a little bit disappointing in retrospect. But here's something crazy. My son also got beat up by his teacher when he was 12 for displaying the same type of attitude, right? An attitude of independence and creativity, which, people who consider themselves above you and an authority, they don't like that. They're like, you're getting shit done on your own. You got a smart mouth, so, and it was on video too. And the school had it all on video. We couldn't press charges against her. Yeah, he thought the beating might straighten me out. No, it didn't. I mean, it did for a little while, I think, but it made me a little more stubbornly hostile, I think. And yeah, maybe Dad was right, but I wish he would have been more business savvy and been like, "Fuck it, let's get all the money we can out of this." Where the whole family possibly could have retired. The what was the family? The Rodney King family ended up with like $100 million, and he was a full grown adult, that was breaking the law and drunk driving. So yeah, I know Dad was Old Navy. He probably thought it was okay. But yeah, like I said, if he would have been a little more business savvy and a little more interested in profiteering from the experience, um, he should have pursued it. I would definitely. I mean, if I had a leg to stand on, we tried that in China, and we tried to sue the school, but they have a very different legal system over here, and the school, the woman was a little bit mentally unbalanced already, and they were still letting her work as a teacher. We got the whole thing documented, and so yeah, she beat the shit out of Dre in school because he's white boy, half white boy, a little foreign devil. So it was a bit of racism. But let me how I want to finish that story and give some resolution on it. We got a lawyer and we were going to attempt to sue the state and stuff like that. And the judge told us no. He said we're not going to pursue this. And so China has a very different legal system. But here's the thing. After that, I became a little bit angry over it, and I focused on it a little bit like magically, and I thought that bitch, to attack my son just because he's an outspoken, freedom-loving individual and half white. I thought if there is any justice in the world, if the subtle arbiter is about, I said, you should exact some justice on her. And I did it in a very casual way. Well, a year later, she died. So I think she was headed towards death anyway. And that's probably why she freaked out because she felt the impending doom coming at her. And she wanted to just take a little bit of revenge out on a little foreign devil. Um, yeah, I know. When that dog bit you, we should have sued as well. I remember that was traumatizing for me as a kid. Like, I think I was 5 or 6 years old, and a golden retriever mom came over to get me, and I think Mike was there too, out of the backyard of the neighbor's house. And she's like, "Hey kids, time to come home." And the dog jumped up and like got you by the jugular or something. And you were wearing a beautiful white blouse, and blood started squirting out of your neck and face. I think it punctured your face, like your cheek and your neck or something. I don't remember exactly, but blood started spurting out all over your white shirt. And I remember looking up and seeing your beautiful white shirt instantly turn red. And I was like, "Oh my God." And from then on, I've always had a bit of a wary nature around dogs. And I don't play no fucking games with dogs. I know each individual loves their dog, but don't fucking bring your dog around me. If it's not a family dog or a dog that I know, then your dog is my enemy. And I've always dealt with dogs in that fashion from then on because dogs are wolves essentially, right? And if they become rabid or wild, and they always, even small ones, have the potential to attack you to drink blood because they're carnivorous. Okay, it was right under your left eye. Well, it was great having the two of you, my two favorite women, two of my favorite women, and especially out there in Happy Land in the ideas room this morning. Thanks for there goes a golden retriever, just like the one that bit you, Sandra Sue. There's a guy walking his golden retriever right now, which golden retrievers are typically very docile or very well-tempered dogs, right? They have some of the best breeding. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful new moon in Libra and have a great day. I will see you in the abodes of the future. It's already 5 minutes past the hour or it's at the hour, but it's my watch is set 5 minutes fast because I like to try to keep ahead of the clock. But yeah, I'm about to go in there. I got a big day, and I will see you guys on the next transmission. Until then, as above, so below, do good magic, and check out that video I just mentioned, Mind Unveiled. Right, Mind Unveiled. I'll put a link. Love you too, Sandra, and much love to you, Miss Mary Moon. Guten Morgen, guten Tagen, Essen, Schlüssel, Daken, Vorverwarnen. Yeah. Until the next transmission, guys, do good magic.